Revs are up, lights on. Now we're away as Michael Gilbert from the front row on the 55 coming back from injury. He got a great launch, and it looks like Gilbert is going to be second place is Xavi Forés. What a start he got. Gilbert trying to go up the inside as they head to the top of the hill. It's Gilbert who wants the clean air, but he's side by side with Forés. And not his first run, by the way, Xavi Forés here at Road Atlanta.
Hayes gets himself into third, Greg. I saw him make a great move. So he went up that hill. I think he snuck up the inside of Mesa through the middle of turn one. Hayes gets himself into second now as he looks to go up at the inside. Michael Gilbert in turn five, so they're chasing this Ducati down the best they can. Hayes is on a flyer. He did exactly what he said he needed to do.
What a launch by Xavi Forés. The 37 of Mesa on that green and black Kawasaki. Looks like he had a notion. But where's Ty Scott? Fifth place.
Looks like he's about fifth there, Greg, with his teammate Teague Hobbs just behind. And I'm looking to see who that rider is in seventh. But now we're going to be able to see we have Suzuki, we have a Ducati, we have Kawasaki, and we have a Yamaha all at the front of this pack right now in first lap.
So the Squid Hunter Yamaha R6 has the lead, but here comes Xavi Forés. That's a bold move under braking as Hayes looks over his shoulder, said, where did that come from? All the while, this dicing is given the Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki riders. Are they able to close the gap? Just slightly. But Mesa, Tyler Cycles goes right up to second place, and Mesa with a tighter line up the hill, trying to look for...
And comes over to America. He has raced here before, as you said.
Yeah, one time he gave it a go at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta some years ago. So Xavi Forés on that Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati. Oh!
That was big. He lost the front big time in the middle of turn 7. I know you were looking at your notes for just a second.
I just saw the whole thing, yeah.
Xavi Forés loses the front, loses all his drive. Michael Gilbert now closing up onto the back of both him and Hayes as they come down into this break-in area. And Stefano Mesa leading the way. Oh, Xavi Forés going for a big move as he goes down the inside of Mesa down into turn 10.
Xavi Forés, keep in mind, doesn't have a lot of time on these American-made Dunlop tires at all, but he's got a lot of confidence in the front end of that Panigale V2. So it's Forés who's very fast from basically the middle of turn 10 up and down the hill onto the front straightaway.
He's incredible so far under braking, and he knows this team won the championship on this bike last year, and they chose him to come back and replace Josh Herron, who won the championship and moved up to Superbike. So Forés wants to keep his nose right.
Personal best lap of the race on the last lap. He's continuing to feel what these Dunlops are like, but Jay, he hasn't been within, I think, 0.3 of a second this entire race. He did a 1:30.060. And the last couple laps, every time I take a look over at him, he's doing 1:30.1, 1:30.2. It's that consistency. Part of what Xavi Forés knows from World Endurance experience that definitely pays dividends and gets you results. So now we have a pack of 5 with just off the back is the 70. He's right there. There's Josh Hayes making a move.
Josh was getting ready to get passed by the 55 at Gilbert, and he just let off the brakes and then goes up underneath Mesa as well. So Hayes might want to come up and take a shot and see if he could try to lead a lap or two of this race. And you can see just up in the distance there, we saw that there was a back marker that they are catching. That rider's done a good job of pulling over to the right-hand side. You'll probably see them out of this next shot, but look at the lead, Greg. We're at 6/10 now. Xavi Forés gets into turn 1 a little deep, though. That's going to cost them some time. There's that back marker I was talking about. This is a horrible place to get caught right here.
And Hayes knew it. He knew he had to get around that back marker, the 31, just to get moving.
Ty Scott's going to come out as the real loser in that, unfortunately. It looked like, see that gap now?
Oh, yeah.
That's horrible. That's a bad spot to catch somebody right at the top of the hill there.
So this isn't deep into the race that Hayes spoke about, but we're getting to the halfway point. And I think for Josh Hayes, he's seen something that says, hey, wait a second, maybe there's a vulnerability here for Mesa. Maybe he saw the bike moving around a little bit more. We see some bobbles coming out of the rear end of the Ducati of Xavi Forés.
It looked like he's switching a map. Did you see Xavi Forés look over to the left handlebar there?
Yep.
Might be doing a map change or something like that. Maybe
adding some TC or
adding some TC or whatever he might need. Maybe he feels something, and with 9 laps in, we're halfway through. Josh looks like he wants to take a shot on the brakes here as they come down into turn 10, and he's going to do it right now.
Path for the lead, Josh Hayes, Squid Hunter, Yamaha R6. So there goes Josh Hayes going after that all-time win record across all categories in AMA racing. motorcycle road racing. So Hayes takes the point. Now Forez, we're going to see how much push he has. Coming across the stripe, it's Hayes who goes 31-1. Or sorry, 30.2
yep.
to Xavi Forez's 31.
He's more than heard of as the number 4 Josh Hayes, but he probably doesn't know that much about Mesa, doesn't know that much about Michael Gilbert, Tyler Scott, or Teague Hobbs. So for Forez, it's just seeing patterns that these guys are running. But look, this is what Hayes does. He gets the lead, he loves to lead, and he's putting his head down right now to see what these guys have behind him. And the 4 has definitely got a big enough lead right now to where he's broke the draft as far as going down that back straightaway. That'll give Josh a big push of confidence. If he can get down to the end of the straightaway without being drafted, he'll know that he's got a little something special, you know, under him to be able to maybe get away from these guys.
And Josh Hayes, of course, being a wily veteran at this pro level, he's been a pro racer for a long time. Don't forget, he started racing club races all the way back in the early 90s. 92, 93-ish, and he's done a bazillion laps around this racetrack and loves it. Look at Forez.
Wow.
That isn't even Hayes leaving the door open. That's Forez just getting there.
He gets drafted down the back straightaway by Mesa and then charges up the inside of Josh Hayes. So regardless of what you think there, Josh had a nice big gap. See that bike moving around under Forez as he let the lever off there. The thing is that Josh Hayes probably was feeling pretty comfortable. All of a sudden, that red Ducati came sliding up underneath him as they went down into turn 10.
And Ty Scott just goes up to 4th place, does the fastest lap of the race the moment after Xavi Forez set the fastest lap of the race. So there, Xavi Forez goes 129.7, but behind him in 4th place, Ty Scott goes 129.2. So all of a sudden, that Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki, our pole sitter, Tyler Scott, really starting to find his rhythm. He's going to be making some moves as the laps start to wind down. We have about 7.5 to go, and it's Xavi Forez in the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati Panigale V2, a bike that was left open after the promotion of your national champ, Josh Herrin, who's now in the Medallia Superbike class.
Keep in mind also, as you look back, Ty Scott, he had that little bit of bad run through the traffic at the top of the hill through traffic. He went 28.9 yesterday in qualifying. So for him to run 29.2 with some 10 laps, 11 laps almost done here, that's an impressive run from him. And you can see Michael Gilbert has just fallen off the back, and Teague Hobbs has fallen off the back of these guys. 30.7 the last time through on Hobbs.
Gilbert not with a ton of time on that GSXR 750. And also coming back from injury, this is great track time for the 55, who we have seen unbelievably fast and stock 1,000 over the last couple of years, is the 55 Michael Gilbert. And for those of you that don't have the MotoAmerica Live Plus app, this may be the first time you're hearing about Michael Gilbert on the 55. But he is a talent that we'll be keeping an eye on out of Tustin, California. Back in 5th place, and he'll be trying to hold on to that position. But all eyes are up front between these two veterans. How many laps around racetracks did these two riders have? And Xavi Forez on that red Ducati number 12, and that blue and yellow Squid Hunter Yamaha R6 of Josh Hayes. Between the two of them, Jason, you have to say hundreds of thousands of miles on a racetrack.
Both, yeah, and you know, both of them have done World Endurance too as well. So you know, they're doing a lot.
Josh Hayes has done MotoGP, World Supersport, World Endurance.
He's been everywhere. Josh Hayes has, and the thing is now, this is the key. Who and how are they going to get through these back markers? How easy it will be. This one here, they should be okay. All 4 of them should get by the tail ender. That guy does a great job just getting over to the right-hand side of the track and allows this race to push on through. Hayes is extremely strong in turn 1. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's where Xavi's a little bit slower than these guys is in turn 1. That could be laps, could be setup and things like that. But Hayes now is going to take a shot, try to take a shot at Forez. But again, Greg, like you said, Ducati is incredibly stable right there.
Strategy-wise, is this the move for Josh Hayes if he has the ability? I mean, Forez is so good down the hill under braking. There's 2 spots, so obviously it was 10A and now turn number 12. But if you're Hayes, do you just let this play out a little longer?
Well, what's funny is Xavi Forez doesn't look like he wants to follow, does he? At all. Like, he does not look like he wants to follow.
And we know Hayes doesn't.
At all. And so the problem that you have now is the number 4 hates to follow. 4 hates to follow himself. So he wants to lead as best as he can. As you can see him, all 4 of them have got through everybody really, really clean as they go up in through turn 2, 3, 4. down the hill. But yeah, both these guys want to lead. Hayes is just better in some places, and Xavi's better in others. But the braking zones are so key here in Atlanta, and Forrest looks like he's got a little bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, I think right now, if you're Hayes, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to have to disrupt his racing down into turn 10 and try to gap him as they head down into turn number 12. Here we go. This is going to be into turn 7, onto the back straightaway. They're going to pull the trigger here. And Forrest, trying to get the bike upright and drive, has a long look over his shoulder to see what's happening behind him.
The other problem is Josh doesn't really know how much of a gap he really pulled on them that lap that he did lead. If you remember, he had a pretty big gap, but it wasn't big enough for that Ducati to not go by him. But look at the R6. He's got some wheels underneath him, this Josh Hayes, and this time he's going to put himself in a position to go through and go by. And what he did there, Greg, is he pulled up alongside and dictated who was going to get to that apex first. He didn't have to go past Forrest, but he got up alongside of him, squeezed that lever on, and didn't allow Forrest to go by. And Forrest is going to do the favor right back at him.
I am surprised that Forrest did that again. That's a move I probably would have saved a little bit later in the race, as we have 5 to go in Supersport race number 1. Mesa's still hanging there, and Ty Scott is just a couple bike lengths away from getting in the mix.
You say that, but Xavi Forrest, again, he's been around a long time. He's probably knows. You know, somebody's probably told him Hayes loves to lead at the front all the time, and Forrest just doesn't want to let Josh get comfortable. That's what it looks like from the booth here. He just doesn't want to let Hayes get comfortable. He saw Hayes disappear through this section on that lap about 3 or 4 or 5 laps ago when the Ford took the lead. Forrest doesn't want to let that happen again.
Something tells me that is going to be the difference maker for Hayes in this one. Last time by, Forrest was able to get a little bit of advantage into turn 1, but Hayes is getting a monster drive up there, and I think maybe a surprise pass into turn 2 might play in Hayes' favor if he thinks he's got some speed through the S's. But all the while, Mesa's got to foil the plans of these two if they're not thinking behind him about the 37.
See, now these two guys are just going to continue to battle down here, and let's not count out 37 to Mesa or Ty Scott. Ty Scott has really kept his nose clean back there and done a really nice job of probably helping conserve tires a little bit after that. You know, he got held up a little bit one lap. He ran these guys back down and ran the quickest lap of the race in doing so, did the 70. We saw him follow Heron around at MotoAmerica last year all the way to the last lap and do something. With 4 to go now, we'll see if Ty Scott has anything going. But watch this. Look at the gap that Ducati has there, and look at how tight Josh can run it up this hill.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's exactly what you're saying, yes.
By the way, personal best laps set again for Forrest, Hayes, and Mesa. 29.4, 29.5, 29.6. It shows you how well these Dunlop tires are holding in there at this torrid pace. Some of that is draft. Some of that has to do also with the reduced fuel load as these bikes handle a little bit better, get a little bit more speed. But you can only do that if these Dunlop tires are going to stick both front and rear. Great job by the series tire manufacturer. Some lap traffic here. This doesn't look like it's going to be too much of an issue.
Nope, did a nice job.
Yeah.
67.
If you're new to racing, there are blue flags that fly for lap traffic when these leaders are coming through to indicate to those riders that they're on their way. And so lap traffic doing a good job of not getting involved in this race.
And real quick, for those wondering, Corey Ventura, Greg, is all the way up to 8th place.
Amazing.
All the way up to 8th place. So what could have been small mistake yesterday is you see Ty Scott. Now he goes past Mesa as they go down into turn 10. Mesa doing everything to get that bike slowed down. And this is kind of what I was thinking. I feel like Ty Scott's just been kind of sitting there, Greg. He's young, but he's incredibly intelligent, high IQ when it comes to riding a bike and racing strategy. So the 70 now finds himself up into 3rd, and he's going to be trying to close up on those 2 in front of him now.
29.6s. Jay, I mean, the whole front part of this race, these guys were doing 30.1, 30.2. Now they're just clicking off mid-29s. What happened there?
Well, fuel load's going down, pace is hotting up. Guys are trying to spread themselves out a little bit, and, you know, again, these 2 guys here, Hayes extremely quick. This is where Josh just wishes he could be leading. Ty Scott lost some time there as they went through turn 1. Both him and Mesa both ran a little bit wide in the middle of turn 1. I did see they went down past a back marker, but he was well out of the way. And but we'll see if that GS6R 750 can run these guys back down, as they might get held up here a little bit in the middle of 7, which could affect the drive down the back straightaway. Nope, they're going to be okay. They're actually going to be able to maybe use that rider to draft pass. That rider does a good job also, Greg, at getting out of the way. We got about 2.5 laps left?
About that. So now next is the 25. We'll see if 25 is going to be able to get some good timing as they go side by side. Our leaders, the 12 and the 4, but Flores so deep on the brakes.
I can tell you right now, Josh wanted to be the first one to the next back marker because this is where you can really do some damage if you're leading the race right here. Both Hayes and Flores are going to go through. It looks like, yeah, they both get by. Ty Scott's going to get by now also. Nice work from the 25. Declan there, he gets over to the right-hand side of the screen, lets those leaders go through.
All right, so 2 laps to go. This is where Hayes is able to make up some time on Flores. I guarantee you tonight, the team is going to look at this video, the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team and say, okay, this is where we need to make a small improvement here, because Flores looks strong in most sections of this track. This is where Hayes has got so much experience.
He can't get through there by himself, though. We've only seen Hayes lead down that one time, haven't we? And when he did, he pulled a big gap. But look at Ty Scott, Greg. He's closed up on the back of these guys again. So the number 70, Relentless, just trying to stay there. I'm looking at the splits in this first little sector. We'll have a look.
Oh, and Flores with a big mistake.
Yep.
Big mistake on the front end. Another save. He looks over his shoulder. And now it's about Ty Scott.
That's going to be the big benefactor right there, because what that did is it slowed those 2 up as they came out of turn 7, and the 70 is going to lead as they come down that back straightaway. Flores is going to do everything he can to outbrake Scott as they get down into this section. Turn 10, we've seen him strong the whole time, and he does get past. Now that, unfortunately, was really bad for Hayes that Flores made that mistake, because Josh has been showing that he can stay in that draft, and that actually screwed him up a little bit on the 4.
Yeah, it's one thing to work on Xavi Flores by himself, but now for Hayes, if he wants to win, he's got a couple other. Here comes the white flag. This is the final lap. And all the while, Mesa is still in the mix. He's right there on that Tytler Cycles Kawasaki, but it's Flores deep into turn 1, trying to get it turned. We'll see what Hayes has coming up the hill. That tighter line, that good drive. Oh, Ty Scott's got a good one as well. So Hayes not able to make up a ton of time. This is the section of the track where Ty Scott had some issues the lap before. Gets it nice and clean there. Now we're going to see a couple next-gen bikes going at it.
Yeah, we got 4 brands at the front. I mean, I just love seeing that we've got, you know, 4 different manufacturers represented here, and now we're going to see if the 750 has anything for that Ducati as they go down the back straightaway. He's closed up onto the back of Xavi Flores. Josh was extremely fast up through 1, but lost a little time, hasn't he, Greg, through the run down through the S's. And I don't know if the R6 actually has the wheels to draft past both of these bikes, but we're going to see right now. Mesa, again, he's going to be trying to draft Josh as well.
Here we go, final time down the back straightaway for Supersport, and Mesa goes around Hayes for 3rd spot. Here comes Ty Scott. He goes around for the lead, but this is where Flores has been so strong. Is Scott going to try to protect the inside? There's not enough inside to protect. There goes Flores around. Hayes goes up the inside of Mesa as well. So it's Flores who's going to head down the hill, and he's been the strongest all day. Is Xavi Flores going to show up here in America and win his first Supersport race in his first attempt? Out of the final corner, Flores hard on the gas. He's driving towards finish line around lap traffic, and he barely makes it.
Wow.
He squeaks it out by 41 thousandths of a second. It's Xavi Flores over Ty Scott. Josh Hayes in 3rd, Mesa in 4th. As we wait the arrival of Michael Gilbert on his return, he'll come across.
What a win for Xavi Flores. You can see he barely beat Scott across the line. Welcome to America.
It's going to be Xavi Flores over Ty Scott. Josh Hayes, your podium. Mesa right there. Great points haul for him. Michael Gilbert has returned to racing in 5th spot over Teague Hobbs, Carl Sotis, and Corey Ventura all the way from the back.
He's going to learn so much, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow's race too.